Season 2 of Sex and the City revival series, and Just Like That, continues to prove that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. But eventually, it will at least give it a go, if the alternative is a one-way trip to the vet. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more before we jump into how the show is still obsessed with its past and still hasn't got the first idea what to do about it. Having twice in her life been allowed to pick a title for her creative output, and both times gone with Sex and the City, Carrie continues to recoil at the very idea of discussing her own, or anyone else's, stinky speedway. This time around, she refuses to talk up a brand of secret fish forest suppositories on her podcast, which wrathful studio manager Chloe reveals is threatening the financial well-being of the whole company. Just a thought, but if your whole organisation is riding on a single plug for vagine humidifiers, then for once, Carrie might not be the biggest liability in the building. The root cause of Carrie's ridiculous twisting is a twofer. Firstly, she's clearly not a fan of the implication by association that her own furry cup may have runneth dry. Secondly, she doesn't think it's very on-brand for her. Which of course begs the question, what would be these days?
So, your husband died, and you're the worst. Just scream his name 10 times from the bathroom floor, and our voice-activated useless wife life alert will call someone with common sense. Your flooded basement doesn't have to ruin your day. Bradshaw brand adult diapers are good for up to one whole Snapple bottle full of leakage. You never know when a friend might get two in the pink and one in the stinkin' mixed company. That's why our new and improved finger blast blinders are proven to block up to 99% of nearby human rights violations.
Elsewhere, producer with benefits Franklin continues striking out. First, he brings work into bed with them. And if there's one thing Carrie likes talking about less than sex, it's her job. Then he reveals that he wears glasses, and Carrie's reaction couldn't say ick any clearer if it erupted in boils across her forehead. By the time Carrie settles on a rewrite of the ad she can live with, it's too late. She and Franklin return to the studio to find it shutting down faster than an Amber Heard mattress store. Now selfishly causing dozens of redundancies? That's very Bradshaw. As a result, we wave goodbye to Franklin, who wisely judges that a single Carrie Bradshaw with nothing but time in her hands is something you need to maintain a minimum safe distance from. And so, the revival of Sex and the City is cancelled. A phrase you're likely to hear somewhere else sooner rather than later. This week in Who Gives a Shit news, Seema feuds with hairdresser Juan Jose, who accuses her of being too picky after showing up to work with a merkin on his head. He's proved wrong though, when love interest Zed ruins Seema's attempt to reconnect by asking her to invest in what is almost certainly a money laundering front. Bye bye Zed. Herbert's outburst when faced with a racist cab driver leads to a lesson for both he and wife Lisa from his visiting mother in the virtues of rising above. But is a revival of notorious race eraser Sex and the City the right vehicle for it? Surely that's like taking medical advice from the guy who stabbed you. Naya realizes that estranged and baby-crazy husband Andre isn't just on a different page to her, he's in a different book. What to expect when you're expecting, I assume. Her resulting unhinged sweep through their home to remove all of his tat signifies the end of their rubbish marriage. Che's week is spent entertaining Tony Danza, who plays their father in their TV pilot, and talks about gender like someone's holding a live grenade to his face. To Che's horror, he reveals that he's convinced the network to race-bend their Mexican heritage to sidestep any internet backlash about his own casting. If you didn't want to get cancelled, Tony, you shouldn't have taken the call for this show. Miranda continues to have a rocky time in LA this week, as if moving cross-country to become a full-time simp was ever going to be anything but. If you've been wondering what she gets up to all day as an unpaid groupie, it turns out that it's mostly sniffing out truffles in Che's Crave Cave. an act she describes as practice, which is as wholly understandable as it is mildly horrifying. Hold on to your f***ing hats though everyone, because the unthinkable happens. With Che's bacon hole otherwise occupied, Miranda goes to an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. The show glosses over her evidently off-screen acceptance of her addiction in typical fashion, but they're obviously listening to the online discourse. In which case... Hey, Michael Patrick King, your show's garbage. Fellow attendee Ali offers a solution to Miranda's listless West Coast existence, volunteering for an environmental group's upcoming beach cleanup. And if there's one thing Miranda's time in Los Angeles so far more than qualifies her for, it's sticking her hands into slimy crevices with a strong oceanic scent. She does manage to do more than most for the environment, however, by accidentally recycling her phone, along with the collected sea garbage. Also, this guy features a lot. I like him. He looks at her the way that I do while I'm watching through my fingers. With Che still indisposed, mysterious stranger Lyle is dispatched to rescue Miranda from the unbearable hellscape of a Californian beach. During the ride back, he reveals that he's actually Che's ex, and that they're still legally married. Miranda is, perhaps understandably, stunned. I mean, it's not as if she's ever done anything questionable while still married to somebody else. Has she? Back at home, Miranda confronts Che for keeping secrets, and finally realizes that they know sweet FA about each other. But it's all swept under the carpet in record time. Ms. Hobbs isn't wrong though. By that standard, I've got a more committed relationship with Uber Eats. Seriously, we've picked out rings. If Mrs. York Goldenblatt spent any time wondering whether her parents' skills are up to par after last season's fumbling of rocks coming out, then this week provides clear confirmation that neither of her children think she's killing it. Lily is up at bat this time around, demanding an electric keyboard. Apparently, she's a serious artist with something to say now.
I have something that I need to say now. I'm a serious artist. Oh my god.
Alright, chill out, kid. You're 16. Richard Burton's water bowl is deeper than your current emotional maturity. Both parents reject the request on the grounds of teaching her a lesson about financial responsibility. The very same parents who blew a whole wad of cash on a Met Gala outfit that never made it past the lobby, and a thou piece on matching Oscar de la Renta dresses for a high school recital. She'd learn more about sensible money management as Elton John's florist. The eldest Goldenblatt child quickly identifies the ideal way to get what she wants and hit Mother York where it hurts. She sells half her wardrobe to Real stand-in Real Deal, third-party sellers of pre-loved designer cast-offs. Clearly excited to actually have something to do for a change, Charlotte flies into an inconsolable rage over the whole thing, and begins a useless one-sided hate campaign against the Real Deal. Very Moby Dick if the Wail was into second-hand Chanel. A brief interlude in the madness of Queen Charlotte arrives when Lily demands an audience for the debut of the urgently important music that caused the whole debacle. It turns out to be a reflection on how awful it is to be a poor little rich girl.
Park Avenue streets, where do they lead? Stuck in the deep, goddamn, the power of privilege.
Imagine Orlando Bloom writing, directing, and starring in a movie about how tough life is when you're packing a beef missile that could restart the Cold War, and you won't be far off. Lily's excruciatingly navel-gazing misfire also features a highly pointed refrain about Charlotte's smothering mothering.
No, I'm not allowed to be me. I'm a good girl, I'm a good girl.
This ultimately leads her to abandon her allegedly sentimental quest to reclaim the bartered dresses and embrace who Lily is in the here and now. Which, as far as I can see, and as beautifully pointed out by Anthony himself,
Oh, is she Lily Eilish?
'Cause I always have to.
is a knockoff Billie Eilish. Personally, I'd check whether the adoption agency do out-of-warranty returns. Last video's top comment came courtesy of Christine, who was too distracted by the sight of Miranda's Green Valley Creamery to render a judgment on the Met Gala fashion choices. Look on the bright side, at least we didn't see her nut butter. This video's question is, which on-brand product would you sell on your podcast? Answers in the comments below please, and the best will pitch itself to the masses next time. Either way, thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, if you can't be good, be crusty.